Hey guys, this is a time lapse of my Wonho study from the Ain't About You video. I started off by loosely blocking in large shapes with the pen tool, then I proceeded to flat collars and large shadow areas. Once I finished with that, I then started to work on the face while zoomed out, while using the pen tool I used while drawing. I was largely interested in picking up the different colors of the face, more so than getting every detail right at this moment. This turned into a full study where I did the background and everything, but I had originally intended on it being a little more looser, a little more playful. The total time of the study was between about 4 and 5 hours. I started in July and finished it in November. The entirety of it was done in Clip Studio Paint. From here, the process of the study was streamed. I started working with the SU cream pencil and zoomed in on the face to work. Here is where I started building out the details. At this point, I finally noticed what was wrong with the mouth and corrected it. Remember to flip your canvas often. At this point, I began working on this hoodie. I tried to remain fairly zoomed out while working, but still ended up getting caught up in the details. Painting the hoodie proved so difficult in part because the flat collar was wrong. It was an artifact left over from how I initially intended working on the piece. At this point, I move on from working on the collar. I begin working on the entire body in large value groups. Unfortunately, I didn't get the shapes quite right before starting to work smaller. This causes me to do more work later when I have to go back in and redo my large groups. To avoid this issue, I recommend looking at your navigator panel or keeping a smaller canvas window open to refer to while you're working. Here's where I finally decided to completely start over on the hoodie. Notice how much more coherent shapes look in the small window. My details make much more sense this time as they're grouped in larger values better. Now I'm moving on to the undershirt, where I failed to group my values together again. I also needed to make the flat collar darker. This way I would only needed to have added sparse highlights and shadows. Here I begin jumping around the piece, looking at it in its entirety, adding details where I need to. I now begin working on the background, and am constantly rotating and zooming in and out of the canvas, so I'm switching over to the time-lapse view. I don't go into much detail in the background, as I still want Wonho to be the main focus point. I'm now taking my final looks at the piece, making sure he fits into the environment, fixing contrast issues, and adding subtle pops so that he stands out. This is my first time adding commentary, so hopefully next time I won't repeat myself so much and talk more in depth about what I'm doing. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.